Well. Saturday, December 16th. It's noon Eastern Time. I am Bob Harris. This is the Football Diehards YouTube channel. It's time for the weekly Ask Me Anything session. This week we have a Saturday triple header. Wow. We're going to take it right up to just about game time. And I'll carry us through to the Sunday slate. But before we get to all that, FootballDiehards.com. That's the website. We appreciate you joining us here every Saturday at this time. Also Wednesdays for our On the Hot Seat sessions. This week it was Pat Fitzmorrison. It was fantastic, and there's tons of good info. And I demand you go listen to it. I demand. I subtly suggest you go listen to it. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell, like or dislike. Go ahead. I don't care. Make my day. Appreciate y'all coming as always. It's always great to see you. Always looking for a little interaction here, and we always get that with all our friends. And I get it, playoff time, the questions are a little more intense. We saw that on the radio program. By the way, you ever listen to the Football Diehards radio program on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio? It's fantastic, I'm told. Many people say this. Maybe. Anyway, you could hear us tonight. Special time tonight. We're on from 9 till 12 because of the games. So 9 to midnight. And this week only on the fantasy channel, since the NFL games or the NFL channel's doing other things. We'll be there. Have great guests tonight. Marcus Grant from NFL Network, a good friend. Dave Kluge from Football Guys. And, of course, Jamie Clander from our own website. By the way, the DFS live stream will be on tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time with Jamie and Eric, doing a fantastic job walking you through all the Sunday slate action and helping you get set up. And appreciate everyone coming. Good morning, Jesse. Nice to see you. I saw you follow me on the Instagram. I'm at Football Diehard there. I don't really do that much there, but you know how it is. I do a little more in the off season than I do in the regular season. Good morning. Merry Christmas to you, John Fusek. Appreciate your presence. Golf boy coming to us from the great southern realm of Wisconsin. Fair enough. Appreciate that. Good morning, Andrea. How are you? Troy Olson in the house. Appreciate you coming, Troy. Dame. Hello. How's that Scott Fish stuff going? Oh, I didn't hit the right button. Good morning. Royal Slade in the house. Mr. Scamper's here as well. I feel like very comfortable with all my friends here. This is fantastic. Good morning, Jay Jordan. How are you? Good to see you. Few are better at what? Thank you. Appreciate the kind words, Adam. Very nice to hear from you. And Eric Romoff in the house. Eric Romoff doing fantastic work behind the scenes on all this stuff. Appreciate that. And also, what do we got? Rookie. Been out there. I've been out there, way out there. Good to be back here. Good to have you back here. Always enjoy your presence. So good morning, everyone. We got a lot going on. I feel like I say that every show, only because we have a lot going on. Right? I think that's a pretty fair assessment every day. We got the triple header today. We've got the Bengals and the Vikings about to play the Bengals in Cincinnati. Justin Jefferson is active, so set to go. And we'll see about that later on today. We got the middle game is the Indianapolis Colts and Pittsburgh Steelers. That's in Indy, I believe. Is that correct, people? Have I screwed that up? Let me double check. I hate saying stupid stuff when I'm really not sure. That is in Indianapolis. And, of course, the Broncos are in Detroit tonight. All the games are on NFL Network, I believe. By the way, who dressed Steve Smith today? Help me out, people. Who dressed Steve Smith? I mean, it's like, I guess, a nice suit, but it just looks funny to me. Said the guy in the KISS t-shirt. All right. Like I'm like the big fashion plate, right? I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Bell. All right. So I know you'll have a ton of questions. We got some injury issues I want to just bring up and, put on your dashboard here as we're going in. By the way, Brandon Staley got fired. His feelings were hurt by the Raiders. What a game. The NFL. Do you remember me saying it's like a volatile thing? And I guess there's nothing more illustrative of that than the fact the Raiders went from 0 points to 63 points in 1 week. 0 to 60 in 1 week. Less than a week, actually, short term. So how about that? So Brandon Staley fired by the Chargers. Tom Telesco, the GM, fired as well. So we've got Isaiah Pacheco ruled out this week already. Sounds like he had a shoulder procedure. And Andy Reid says, though, he's already back in walkthroughs and getting busy. So we may see him next week. We'll see. It's Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the order you prefer going against the Patriots. I think some of this, if you're deciding between those two, depends on how you view the game script playing out. I think go just about anyway. So think probably McKinnon is the safer play just because he'll have a role either way. Maybe a CEH is a little more run heavy. So that's a tough call, right? Tyreek Hill. Listed as question. Well, Devon Achan too. I speak for a living sometimes, and I do it reasonably, understandably well on occasion. Maybe somewhat, a little bit. Good morning, Dominic. Nice to see you in the house. Tyreek Hill. I mean, look, he's on track for a 2,000-yard season. I think he'd like to hit that. I think everyone knows that. Mike McDaniel said it'll be, conversations with Hill, the training staff, and they'll see if they're confident he can make it through the game, and they may well play him. Devon Achan, I haven't heard a damn thing. Haven't heard a damn thing, right? So that makes me a little nervous. It's a toe injury, not the knee that he's been dealing with. So that makes me a little more nervous. It's a great matchup for the running game, too. So that's interesting. I think you look at Miami last week when there was no Tyreek Hill on the field, they struggled to move the football. So I have concerns, about Tyreek Hill beyond just Tyreek Hill, but also about Tyreek Hill. So we'll see. CJ Stroud in the concussion protocol. They say that he still has a chance to get cleared today. I think they're lying. I think, they're like, from my understanding of the protocol, and we'll talk everybody off the proverbial playoff roster. Like I'll probably push you back on, right? I mean, that's more my lane. Yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors. Washington, others. We'll see. I mean, it's interesting stuff, and the rumor mill will grow up. It's a great landing spot for a coach, right? I think Chase Daniel kind of tweeted that like this is going to be the most coveted landing spot. It's in Los Angeles, number one, a media center, great stadium, great quarterback for the long haul. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the Spanos family, not notoriously big spenders, want to handle this. And there's a lot of talk that they really need to upgrade the entire facility. That injuries have kind of, indicate that maybe they need an overhaul of their, off-field activities, from nutrition to training to, all things. So we'll see where this goes. That place needs a lot of work. Sean Payton was said to be interested just for the Justin Herbert level portion of that. And I kind of agree with that. I mean, if you're a coach, I mean, what sets an NFL team up for success? It's a quarterback, a franchise quarterback. Justin Herbert is that. So he's got that going for him, or they have that going for them. So we'll see. I think Belichick's an interesting thought there. So back to Stroud. He is in the concussion protocol. They're pretending he still has a chance to get through. From my understanding, the concussion protocol, it requires certain increased amounts of activity with testing in between. Well, he's done no activity. He wasn't in the building as of Friday. So I think the real question here will be Davis Mills or Case Keenum. And why would I feel better if it's Case Keenum? I don't know. Probably I shouldn't, but I kind of do. But I don't think it will be. I think it'll be Davis Mills. Don't think Nico Collins will be there. Think Noah Brown will. Dalton Schultz will. It's against the Titans. Derrick Henry, one of the part owners of the Texans franchise. The last 5 games, I think he has 4 200-yard outings. The last outing was a meager 126-yard output. Many touchdowns over the course of that span. So just seems to have their number. We'll see if that carries over with a new coaching staff and some new pieces. Looks like Geno Smith's probably going to play this week. He seems to be trending in that direction. So we'll get some of that out of the way, some of that house cleaning things. And it is, this time of year, the injuries and with the Saturday kickoffs, we have a additional layer of intrigue in terms of roster decisions that you have to make. I mean, do you play safer guys today? Ty Chandler, I'm guessing it will be a popular topic today. If I will not be surprised to get a Ty Chandler, Devon Achan question, right? Which normally you would never get, but the timing is interesting. And that's the key this week. And it's a tough week because we're starting our playoffs. Love that. All right. Shall we get into questions? You guys ready to do questions? I'm ready for questions. Like radio show last night was wall to wall. I mentioned the radio show and I didn't even tell you when you could hear it. It's 9 to 12, 9 to midnight. Marcus Grant, Dave Kluge, Jamie Calandro on. I'll be on again tomorrow on the pregame show with Jeff Mans. Then Monday, Thursday, Friday, 10 p.m. usual times on the Fantasy Channel. 3 hours on Monday and Thursday. And then another 2-hour show. We're doing our one and done draft set. It's a ton of fun. And then again back Saturday. And I think Saturdays, all the Saturdays through the end of the regular season will be that 9 to 12, that 9 to midnight time frame on the Fantasy Channel only. Hoorah! Listen in. And I'll be here on the Saturdays, and I'll also be here on Wednesdays. And again, go back and listen. Pat Fitzmaurice from Fantasy Pros, one of my favorite peeps, was on the show. We had a really good time. We agreed on almost everything. I hate it when we all agree. Me and Dempsey were agreeing on everything last night too. It was crazy. All right. I've stalled on the questions long enough, right? Let me get to them. I'll try and go through them quickly. I know, some of you are sitting here waiting for me while I ramble on incessantly about things that you're not as interested in as your own questions. So apologies for that, but hey, It's a show. I'm trying to do a show. Come on, people. Cut me some slack. I'm Bob Harris. Let's dive in. Colin O'Garo. Hope I said that right. 12-team PPR, Ferguson or Waddle in the flex. I don't have a great feeling for Waddle. Does anyone else really like Waddle? I don't. I think Ferguson's a super solid play in what should be a very high-scoring game. I might go there, especially if, number one, the Jets have had Tua Tagovailoa's number. It's a tough secondary. If there's no Tyreek Hill, this would even be a wider gap. I'm not interested in this passing attack. Jalen Hurts has an illness and isn't practicing today. The horror. He will make the trip, though, or is expected to make the trip and play, from what Ian Rappaport understands. So said my watch, and it knows. All right, so back to that. Ferguson seems to be a really solid play. So if you're just looking for a floor, I would play that. Waddle just hasn't been impressive this year. He's had a couple spike games, but for the most part, it hasn't been great. As I mentioned, if Tyreek Hill isn't on the field, this offense goes to hell in a handbasket. Really tough matchup against the Jets secondary. I expect a run-heavy day either way. So there you have it. Colin. 10-team PPR, Swift or Chandler in the flex. I'm going to get a lot of Chandler or whoever questions. But do you really feel like you need to play Swift? I mean, if you're playing Swift right now, you're playing your fear of missing a big breakout game, one of the games he had earlier in this year. He hasn't had those games for a little while. I'm fine not playing Swift. And I would probably, if it was my decision, it would depend on the rest of my roster and how I perceive my opposition's roster. Do I need to swing for the fence? I don't know that Swift is a swing for the fence, right? I don't know that he is. I think Chandler might be more a swing for the fence in this matchup. I would probably play Chandler here and maybe regret it if Swift had a big game. But again, when was Swift's last big game? Help me out, people. It's been a little while. So I don't want to overstate the case. Let me just look at something. Let me just check something, please. Bear with me. Yeah, it's been. I'm just double checking the game logs just to make sure I'm not insane. We did this on the Diehards the other night, and we found some. It's just like you get notions in your mind, right? And I think they're mostly correct. You have to type the information in correctly to get the right information out of the machine, I think. I just want to look here. It's been 11 carries, 39 yards, 6 carries, 13 yards, 14 carries for 80 yards. That's not bad. He had a touchdown in November. He had one touchdown all of November. Like, that's the problem for me, is there's not a lot of upside there in general. That's what I really wanted to check. Jalen Hurts is essentially the goal line back. Kenneth Gainwell cuts into that a little bit. So I'm not a big fan of this. That's just where I'm at. So I'm going to play Chandler and hope I don't regret it. There's a lot of questions here. All right, Paul DeSantis, playoff time. Half-point PPR, need to start two of these. Higgins versus Minnie London at Carolina, bad weather. Cooks at Buffalo, or Godwin at Green Bay. Cooks and Godwin are both questionable. Cooks, it's a late afternoon game, so I have an issue there. I mean, I like London. I'm not keen on London. I saw a number, though, this morning on my NFL Network crawl that he's 18 catches away from having the most catches for a 2-year total, first 2 years of any receiver in Falcons history. Julio Jones is one of those receivers. That's who he will surpass if he gets that goal. I would like to play Cooks in this game. I would probably play London, and bad weather notwithstanding. Godwin is questionable as well. Hasn't been going great guns. I mean, London hasn't been going great guns either, right? It's been pretty much one game. Higgins is getting like a 10% target share right now, so I'm a little less interested. London at least is the dominant piece of that passing attack when they pass. Do not expect the big game, but I expect avoiding a zero. If we got some good news on Cooks in advance of Sunday's kickoff, like check the FootballDiehards.com website overnight, listen to the pregame show with me and Jeff Mans. I do believe that everyone in Dallas thinks Brandon Cooks is going to play. That includes Jerry Jones. That includes Mike McCarthy. Both of them have said as much. So if you have confidence in that, he's questionable with an illness. If you have confidence in that, I'd prefer to play him. Good morning, Bob, said Kevin O'Brien. Good morning, Kevin O'Brien, said Bob. Made the playoffs in 16 to 22 leagues. You son of a... Good job, man. Still alive in 2 more. Thanks for your help all year. You're the best. You just came in here to brag at me and make me feel bad about my own shortcomings. Congratulations, Kevin. I'm happy for you, man. Good job. Appreciate hearing that. Half point PPR need the best three of these four. Jalen Warren against at Indianapolis, Ty Chandler at Cincinnati, Antonio Gibson. It's the first three. Although there's something to be said for Jaden Reed, as my friend Michael Florio at NFL Network calls him, Wisconsin Debo. Gets some carries. It's good stuff. I do think there's a little bit upside with him, and I like that game. I'm probably playing the safer plays. If you have concern, like the one I would switch him in for is probably Gibson. There is no Brian Robinson Jr., by the way. I should have probably mentioned that at the top. Big name ruled out this week with a hamstring injury. Ron Rivera said yesterday that we can expect to see some Chris Rodriguez in there, maybe taking some of the Brian Robinson, not the Bijan, the Brian Robinson role. And by the way, that's the thing about the Panthers. I mean, the Falcons this week is going to be a Bijan heavy game because it's the Panthers are kind of a run funnel. Maybe so. I'm still playing London in that case, unless I have the intestinal fortitude to upgrade to Brandon Cooks, but that's a different conversation. Warren and Chandler for sure. Gibson probably, and Reed. I would give this some thought. I think it's fair. Let me just see what kind of points we've scored this year on the season. Reed is putting up pretty good points. Checking one more thing. Bear with me, people. I'm old. It takes me time to do stuff. Okay, not really. Jaden Reed. Wow. Averaging double digits. 10.9 points a game. Reed might be the better play than Gibson. I'm a little stuck on Gibson because I have him provisionally installed in a tournament lineup just because I think, this is going to be a high scoring game and I'm looking for some pieces that maybe everyone isn't all invested in. So maybe I'm a little stuck on that. Reed might be the better play there. Half point PPR, best tight end, Dalton Kincaid, Dallas, Isaiah Likely, Jacksonville, Taysom Hill versus New York Giants. I'm probably playing Kincaid. I don't think Likely is the wrong answer. Taysom Hill's so hit or miss. He is going to play this week. If you're taking the super huge swing for the fence, he is obviously that. Likely's pretty good, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are horrible. Still like Kincaid the best, but I mean, these are all good options, Kevin, that you have. You want the singular answer. For me, it's Kincaid. And if you want, if you have hunches, I don't think any of your hunches would be wrong in this one, right? I mean, all these, I could make a pretty good argument for all of them. Look, Kevin O'Brien's here. Planning to play Devon Achane versus New York Giants at Flex. If he cannot go, best option, Jerome Ford, Chuba Hubbard, Atlanta, Antonio Gibson, Taysom Hill. It would probably be Hubbard for me, or followed by Ford, followed by Gibson, followed by Hill, unless you need the home run swing. That's what Taysom Hill is, home run swing. I played Aiden O'Connell this week. Aiden O'Connell, Josh Palmer, Zamir White, Devontae Adams. There's 8 guys scored touchdowns for the Raiders. I could list them all. A Browning or Howell or Javonte or Javonte or CEH. I'm playing Javonte over CEH. I don't think this is the best of weeks for Javonte, yet still the volume is there and I could play that. I do think this will be a pass friendlier approach for the Denver Broncos against that Detroit Lions defense, who were pretty tough against the run. But Javonte gets the volume. CEH, I don't know what the hell to expect, right? Honestly, don't. I mean, I talked about it at the top and I'll talk about it again a little bit. How do you see the game playing out? Do you think this is a game where the Chiefs get out to a lead and they just want to nurse it and maybe they're going to run a little more? Because I think the Chiefs have learned they can't rely on their passing attack to matriculate the ball down the field the way they want. I mean, Travis Kelce, sure. And they have some pieces that can cobble together. But if they need to run, if they want to run, I mean, they're going to use CH. But also they would use McKinnon because maybe the short passing game is almost as good as the running game to them. So I'm going Javonte easily there. And I'm going Howell over Browning. I don't mind Browning. He's been phenomenal, over 50 fantasy points over his last 2 games. Also, he's playing a Minnesota defense that's become one of the best in the league. And under Brian Flores is gone. They're doing some really tough blitzing, right? That's putting quarterbacks in bad positions. So not against Browning, but Howell is leading the league in attempts, completions. I mean, it's volume. I love volume plays, and Sam Howell's volume play. Also, a top 10 quarterback this year. I believe he's better to Pat Mahomes in this regard. Hi, John Puseth. Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 and whatnot. Here we go. Here we go. Indianapolis defense versus Pittsburgh, or New Orleans defense versus the New York Giants. You know I want to pick on Mitchell Trubisky, right? I don't know if the Indies defense is like primed for that. Um, I would probably play New Orleans just as a general rule of thumb. I think. I do like to pick on quarterbacks. Tommy DeVito says, "Don't pick on me, you guys. I don't care for that." But I think it's like we have the Saints ranked third this week. Indianapolis 12. I think this is one where I'm not going to outsmart myself. I'm going to stick with the thing that got me there, and that would be the New Orleans Saints. Look at all these defense questions. Titans or the Rams? I would probably play the Titans in this case. The Rams are going to get a lot of opportunities because they're going to be a lot of passes. So if you think that's a good opportunity for you, that's fine. But the Titans, they're going to be playing against a not starting quarterback, and whoever it is, whether it's Davis Mills or Case Keenum. So I'm probably going to pick on that quarterback because that's what I do. I'm a bully. I pick on quarterbacks. Puka or Garrett Wilson, 1 point PPR. I'm playing Puka in that game. I love Garrett Wilson. I think he's super fine. This should be, you'll be surprised to learn the Washington Commanders don't play great pass defense at all, like horrible pass defense. So I'm going to play that, right? And Puka's been really good. Matthew Stafford's been on point. I think a lot of things going well for the Rams right now. Kyron Williams also playing extremely well. Cooper Kupp. I mean, I'm playing all those guys if I get the opportunity. And again, not against Garrett Wilson. I do think Zach Wilson has been the key to his success, right? He just hammers him with targets. Zach Wilson, whatever you think of him, he knows which side upon his bread has butter. It's the Garrett Wilson side. Here we go. Golf went on PPR. 10 points per TDs, 10 points per 100-yard bonus. Odell Beckham, Jacksonville, Calvary, Baltimore. I'm going Odell Beckham in that one. And, not just to be controversial or bold, but I think he has the better big playability. And also the Jaguars defense is horrible. Horrible, people. They're giving it up with like nobody's business. So I expect a big day for Lamar Jackson. Beckham has come on, I think 3 touchdowns. And how many games is it? Last 5 games. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play that. Like, I'm not against Calvin Ridley. I don't hate Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley disappointed a lot of people, but you're still okay. Still admire you, young man. Zamir White and CEH are playing each other next week. Assuming they're both starting, which one you like best? I don't want to think about next week because if we don't win this week, we're not going to be playing next week. I mean, I don't know. Too many pieces here. Could Isaiah Pacheco be back? Could Josh Jacobs be back? I will see you next week, Mark Spafford, for this question. I know you're probably trying to play proactive and be ahead of the game, but I mean it's just an unknowable issue. I don't know. My expectation is Isaiah Pacheco is going to be back in practice, and Josh Jacobs. I don't know that this was more of a short turnaround absence than anything else. Hi, Michael Berry, Kincaid or Ferguson. I have a slight lean to Kincaid. There is not a wrong answer here. They're both well inside my top 10. If you feel a little better about Ferguson and his role, feel free. I'm playing Kincaid, Flacco, or Geno. I think we'll get good word on Geno today. Let's wait and see what the injury report says. If the injury report says that Geno has a good chance of playing, if he's off the injury report, I'm playing Geno. Right? If I'm out there and I have Drew Lock available on the waiver wire, I'm landing Drew Lock. You want to play this Philadelphia passing attack, right? It's like everyone puts up numbers against them. And it just got worse because Darius Slay had surgery this week, so he's not going to be playing in this game. So I would like to play that if I can. So I'm watching this one and waiting. I'm not against Joe Flacco. He's been phenomenal. Does anyone else feel like Joe Flacco is going to turn into a pumpkin here at some point, though? I mean, it's just like everything's been so good, right? Like, it's a little hunchy for me. I hope it's not the case, too. I hope my hunch is wrong. But either way, I mean, I think he's a viable play. So if I got word that like Geno was not going to play and I had not been able to secure Drew Lock, who I think would be perfectly suitable, and I took it all the way up to kickoff to see, I would be fine playing Geno. And I'd play Reed over Noah Brown right now. Brown is questionable. I think he's going to play, but his quarterback will be diminished because I don't think C.J. Stroud will. Let's just say this. If C.J. Stroud is cleared today somehow, I will be very surprised, and I will start having conspiratorial feelings about the NFL's concussion protocol because he has not checked any of the boxes that we know of. He hasn't been in the building. I mean, you can't increase your activity. You can't have ramped up activity unless you're at the facility. So They say he's doubtful. I heard Ian Rappaport reporting this morning that we'll know more in a couple hours. We'll know more about what? I mean, I heard D'Amico Ryan say yesterday he's feeling better. Well, I don't think that's part of the concussion protocol. He's feeling better. Let him play. We'll see. I hope I'm not made to look a fool on this. And if I am, I'm still going to think I'm not a fool and that they're fooling me. Singletary versus Tennessee or Connor versus San Francisco. I don't like either of them. I'd play Connor over Singletary. At least Connor has been getting the bulk of the workload. Let me just double check and see how far apart they are on my ranks. The algorithm says Singletary. Wow. Connor 25. Yeah, it's not a huge difference, but it is a difference. Connor ahead of Singletary. And it hasn't been great for Connor. I mean, other than the Pittsburgh game, which Michael Fabiano will sit here and tell you it's because it's a revenge game. Come on, Fabiano. Superstitious people. Uh-oh. No idea what I'm doing here. Addison versus at Cincinnati, JSN versus Philadelphia, Dubs versus Tampa Bay. I'm taking the middle lane probably. Addison just hasn't been good, right? It's like single-digit points every week. He's doing explosion, but does he get it? TJ Hawkinson demanding so much bandwidth, and Justin Jefferson now back demanding bandwidth, and Nick Mullins in a quarterback. Is he capable of providing all of them with bandwidth? Does he look at the outlier guy, Addison? I think my logic tells me that I want to attack the Philadelphia pass defense this week. That's what it tells me. And Romeo Dubs, it's just so hit or miss. No, thank you, please, Romeo Dubs. All right, Toby on the Oregon coast. How are you? Don't really want to play Thielen if I can help it. Other options, Pop Douglas, I could play him. Shaheed, I could. If Olave sits, maybe even more so. Or Robinson versus Washington if Atwell sits. Robinson's had like 15 targets over the last 2 games. It's a really great matchup. Still, I have no faith in him. I don't know why. He's horrible. He's a respected veteran. I should give him a little more. And you're right. Atwell. It does add. I might go Shaheed. So I think you lay them out in the order I would do them with the conditions you've set, right? Like Demario Douglas, I will play no matter what. Maybe if any of those other receivers it's Juju, Devontae, Thornton, all listed as questionable. Probably all of them will be available. I don't know. Maybe not Thornton. Thornton doesn't really matter, right? Set all my dynasty shares of Thornton all at once. He doesn't matter. Irrelevant. Demario Douglas is relevant, has had a big role. So I'd probably go in that direction right there. Andrea needs 1 wide receiver, 2 flex. DJ Moore versus Cleveland, Garrett Wilson versus Miami, Zay Flowers versus Jacksonville, Addison versus Cincinnati, Achane versus New York Jets, half-point PPR. So I want to play DJ Moore. I want to play Zay Flowers. And I might wait it out. I'll throw out Addison and say, like, if Devin Achane is active and I feel like I need maybe a high scoring potential, I would go with him. And if I needed just a solid floor, I would go with Garrett Wilson in that same game. I think that's fair. Oh, Adam OTC, Spears or Demarcus Robinson. Yeah. Here's the thing. These are a little bit guessy or a little bit hunchy just by nature because you're looking at players that aren't the primary pieces of their offense. Demarcus Robinson, as I mentioned, has 15 targets over the last 2 games. Spears has been, he's getting the time, right? I think that's let me just see what the snaps look like. It would be better if I could actually type, which I actually can, but not with my phone in the middle of my keyboard, it turns out. Go figure. So I'm just looking at the carries and receptions. So carries and targets. So let's say for the last month for Tyjae Spears. Carries 4, 2, 16, 7. Targets 2, 3, 6, 8. It's a pretty solid workload. I'd probably go Tyjae Spears here. I think Demarcus Robinson's been fine, and I love the matchup. Just seems like a little bit more of an outlier. It's capable. I'll say this for Robinson though. Matthew Stafford seems to have a lot of trust in him. Throw some tight window passes his way. Throw some in interesting places. And Dame is here to make me feel horrible about myself. I didn't even make the playoffs. I don't even feel bad about it anymore. I'm over it. And love living vicariously through your lineup decisions, Dame. Still in it, played Zamir Turner. Boom! Uh, oh boy, I'd love to play Lockett. I like Reed an awful lot. I'm gonna say Reed is probably ranked higher than Lockett this week. I'm just gonna double check the algorithmic outcomes of these things and see what it thinks. Lockett. It's like so close. We have Reed at 22 this week and Lockett at 28. I think the issue for me with Lockett is JSN is coming on, Metcalf there, but it's a super great matchup. I'm going to go ahead and so is Tampa Bay, by the way. Right, so that's part of it. Is it's pretty favorable all the way around. So I'm going to play Reed here because I think he's kind of the leading piece in that passing attack, and I think Jordan Love rebounds. That's where I'm going, Dane. Oh my god, the horror of some of these decisions. Great. Happy Saturday football day. Good to see you, Jay Jordan. Bonus PPR bonus 5 points for every 100 yards as well. Need a wide receiver flex between these Ridley, McLaurin, McBride, Amari Cooper, Ty Chandler. Amari Cooper had 14 targets last week, and before he went out with the concussion the week before, he had 5. I mean, we're all looking at David Njoku, and I think, and rightfully so, but I think Amari Cooper is not getting the attention he deserves. That's sad. So here's the mystery for me. Here's the mystery. How is Sam Howell in the top, number one in completions and attempts in the NFL? And his 3 receivers are all down in the 30s and 40s in fantasy production. What the hell's going on here? There's a mystery. There's a black hole of fantasy production that's missing from this offense. Ty Chandler is the easy call here, right? I mean, just I'm playing the volume. Amari Cooper would be next for me. McBride would be next, and it's very close between McBride and Cooper. Then it would be McLaurin, then Ridley. Tough question there, Jay Jordan. I think, by the way, Ty Chandler got 83% of the running back touches after Madison was hurt last week. Also, Madison is not playing this week. Andrea, Godwin versus Green Bay, Brandon Cooks versus Buffalo, all the questionables. Adam Thielen and Marcus Robinson versus Washington. So I think that Rams game is a late afternoon game. Let me just double check my notepad. Yes, some people still use paper, old people like me. So the Rams are a late afternoon. So you would have the fallback to Marcus Robinson if you want to wait around and see what's going on with Brandon Cooks, and that's probably what I do. It's not great. Godwin, I guess it was a good week last week. It hasn't been good overall. He's banged up. He didn't practice all week. I'm a little nervous. Brandon Cook's only dealing with an illness. If he's able to get hydrated up, it seems like a great matchup. He's on a great offense. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. All of those things. So I really want to play Brandon Cooks, and I have a viable fallback to Marcus Robinson. That's probably where I'm going. Currently have Hollywood versus San Francisco as my third wide receiver, but with his injury status, I'm thinking of moving it Downs versus Pittsburgh today. Seems perfectly reasonable there. I would probably do Downs over Elijah Moore. Like Downs. And, Hollywood hasn't been going great guns, and it's against San Francisco. I'm not hugely excited about this. I'm more hugely excited about McBride, and it's even a tough matchup for him. I'm not hugely excited about any Cardinals, but if there's one, it's McBride, and it's less so Hollywood. Sorry, Hollywood. You seem like a nice man, but I don't care. It's horrible. Hi, Wally. What are you doing? My cat is says hello. Kenneth Walker the third or Ty Chandler? Let's see. I want to just double check the rankings because I am pretty sure that Kenneth Walker is well down the ranks this week. I just want to see how far. I want to play Chandler, honestly. I mean, it's the super tough matchup, right? So I have him ranked 30 and 31. And Chandler is ahead. But I think maybe Chandler is not getting the due respect from our algorithm, and I might even adjust him up higher before kickoff here. In fact, I might do that right now while we're talking. I'm going to play Chandler. So the thing about Kenneth Walker is there's a big play waiting to happen at any moment, right? He can break one off. He's really good at that. But this is a super tough defense, and I think it's a pass heavy day. So I'm going to go in that direction. Ty Chandler again has the volume. I don't think Kane Nwangwu is going to be cutting into his workload. Might get a little bit, but I don't think a lot. And the Bengals defense is not. It's been one to exploit a little bit. All right. Kyler at San Francisco, Browning versus Minnesota, Levis versus Houston. I could play Browning. I voiced my concerns earlier in this hour, and they remain. I want to say the rankings like Kyler better because they do, because Kyler has all kinds of crazy upside, but it's not by much. It's like they're two players apart. Right. So, yeah, I mean, again, when players are in the same tier, you are welcome to go with your hunch. If you felt like you had a hunch in this direction, and like Browning is slightly behind Murray because he is, my hunch would be play Browning, even in a tough matchup. Again, don't like the Minnesota defense. They're coming off a big game against the Raiders, but also multiple big games, and they are blitz happy, but they're blitzing. They're doing smart things with their pass rush. So sometimes they're bringing six, sometimes they're bringing three. They're making quarterbacks make really hard decisions, and it's working in their favor. And I think Browning is capable enough of processing the situation to be serviceable. And I'm going to play that. Kyler Murray has the Kyler Murray upside, but it's a tough matchup. Half point. Jordan Kill 2 says need one. Warren Ridley Lockett. He's probably going to play Warren here. I like him a little better than I like Najee Harris with Grover Stewart back in the middle of that defense. So like them both okay, but I like Warren a little better this week. Miami defense versus Jets or KC versus Pats. I'm going to play the Miami defense. They're my number one defense this week. Zach Wilson's coming off a huge week. Can he make it two in a row? I don't know. Miami's going to make it tough. Hi, Wally. Wally's very unhappy that he can't go outside. Need one. Andrea does. Flex. DJ Moore versus Cleveland. Deontay Johnson versus Indy. Addison versus Cincinnati. James Conner versus San Francisco. I'm playing DJ Moore. He is questionable, right? But you do have fallbacks here, if I'm not mistaken. It's a Sunday morning game, so you would have James Conner if you needed to fall back there. I don't think he will. Matt Eberflus basically said he's trending in a positive direction, so I'm guessing he'll be fine. I like him in this game and with this matchup as well. I know Cleveland's tough defense, but I like him. I like DJ Moore in particular. There's some secondary issues injury wise for the Cleveland Browns. Your favorite, a defense question. Yay! Thank you, Mark. Jurzinski. Look at me saying names like I knew how to. KC versus New England, Cincy versus Minnesota, Chicago at Cleveland. Boy, it's really tempting to pick on Nick Mullins, right? It would be, I mean, I feel like that I would be okay with that, but I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to double check my rankings just to make sure I'm not going to do that. All the way down to the bottom. Yeah, I'm probably going to play Kansas City in this one. Thoughts are confirmed. Kansas City. Hey, everybody, I'm Bob Harris. How are you? Damn glad to see you. In case you just tuned in and you're like going, who the hell is this guy? What is he doing here? I do this every Saturday. It's my Ask Me Anything live stream. You see, we get a lot of questions. I'm answering them as best I can. And by answer, I mean give you my thoughts and opinions, and I'll tell you who I would play, but also kind of try to outline the possibilities, the whole range of outcomes, because these are your decisions, and I'm not going to be there on Monday. You can't yell at me. Well, you can shake your fist and yell at the sky, or you can come back on Wednesday or again on Saturday and tell me how stupid I am. You could call me on my Sirius XM Fantasy Sports radio show, the Football Diehards, on Monday, Thursday, Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays 9 p.m. Eastern Time for 3 hours. Sundays during the pregame show. We don't take very many calls. And tell me how stupid I am. But the goal here is not to tell you what to do. It's to tell you how I would do and why I see things like I see them and provoke a little thought for you. So hopefully you take it in that spirit and enjoy the information and kind of helps you process it in your own way. So there we have that. Brian Pello, you seem like a new person. Hi, how are you, Brian? Maybe you're like going, who the hell is Bob Harris? Like, I've been around a little while. I'm doing this like 30 years. 30 years, seems like. According to that plaque behind me, I'm in the Fantasy Sports Writing Hall of Fame. Imagine that. It's like a humble brag to me. Anyway, that's nonsense. Let's get to the real serious business. Mr. Scampers has a half-point PPR, needs one running back, one flex. Gus at Jacksonville. Dylan versus Tampa Bay. The broken thumb. Singletary versus Tennessee. Curtis Samuel at LA Rams, or Gabe Davis versus Dallas. Like, I want to get out of the business of telling anyone to play Gabe Davis ever, because like just when I think I have him figured out, like he kind of won me over. And then he said, "Now that I have him, let me crush his soul." Gabe Davis is a super home run swing, right? I think, given the circumstances, I don't really like Gus at Jacksonville. Jacksonville is like a pass funnel right now. They can't defend anybody. Their secondary is decimated. Their run defense can still play a little bit, and I think Keaton Mitchell's coming on. Gus needs the touchdown to get you through. Dylan has a broken thumb. I wonder how much he's going to work. Maybe if there is no Aaron Jones, I would feel a little better about playing Dylan. So I'm miserably playing Singletary and Curtis Samuel and feel horrible about it. Circumstances might, like the Dylan thing, maybe I could change on if things change up. And if I looked and I had played all the Raiders and Josh Palmer on Thursday night, I might think differently of Gabe Davis versus Dallas. Hi, Will C. Good morning to you. Chan versus New York Jets or Zeke versus KC. I'm going to play Zeke and just feel good about it. Look like he's getting all the volume. We got the majority of the work, and he did something with it. He can still play a little bit. I don't know if I expect the same outcome as last week, but I will say the thing that's worked in the New England offense consistently over the course of the last month plus has been the running back. So whether it's Ramondre or Zeke, it's worked. And last week, everything worked, right? Or at least the quarterback worked and the passing attack worked, and that worked in Zeke's favor as well. And as long as this is PPR, I feel even better about it. Chan, I just don't know if he's going to play, number one. And we'll know by the time kickoff comes. But it's a toe. Do I feel comfortable? Like playing a guy who went in questionable with a toe injury that we haven't heard a lot about because everyone's paying attention to Tyreek Hill? I'm hoping to have more information on Chan over the course of today and tonight. So check back with the FootballDiehards.com website, listen to the pregame show tomorrow or the Football Diehards program tonight. And I may have more information on that because I am actively pursuing it, as they say. Albert, just now getting to this. How are you, buddy? Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, man. Brian has another question. Full point PPR, Rashee Rice or Jaden Reed? Jaden Reed for me. Not against Rashee Rice. This is not an anti-Rashee thing. I'm not racist. I just like Jaden Reed. I just love the role he's carved out and the usage that he's seeing. Target shares have been good, and the rushing adds to it. Let's see. Frenzy, 40K. Welcome to the program. Half point PPR, set one. Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, and Puka, and one running back, Derrick Henry or Zach Moss. I mean, like, I have a hard time hitting, divorcing the name from the decision here. This one, number one, Zach Moss is getting all the volume. Derrick Henry is not, right? Demonstrably, Zach Moss is getting like 100% of the running back touches for the Colts, or close to it. We did 2 weeks ago. I think close to it last week. Over 90% of the snaps. Derrick Henry's not getting that, but it's December. Mike Vrabel wants to win, and it's the Houston Texans. I have a hard time sitting Derrick Henry in this one. Let's see how far apart I am from the algorithm that we use to create the rankings on FootballDiehards.com. I'm not far off at all. In fact, I am dead on. Henry 11, Moss 14. Moss is not. We have not been getting the desired outcome from all Moss's volume. That's a safe bet, right? We can say that with we can all agree on one thing. It's that Zach Moss needs to do more with what he's being given. Jonathan Taylor is ruled out. I'm going that way. I don't know why you'd make me sit one of these. Frenzy 40K. This is brutal. I need to find a way to get all those wide receivers in. It would be one of the Rams. I don't know. Maybe you could say, well, DJ Moore's a little beat up. He's questionable with an ankle. Maybe that's the approach I would use to talk myself into sitting somebody here, because I don't really want to sit anybody. Cooper Kupp's been more missed than hits since he came back from the injury, but the hits have been there, and this week his matchup is sublime. If you feel uncomfortable putting all your eggs in one basket, Kupp would be the guy I would sit out from if I was going to sit out a Ram. I think the big picture, if I'm okay playing both Rams, I would sit DJ Moore based on the fact he has a bum ankle. And I'm not sitting Mike Evans because he's Mike Evans. Damn it. That's a tough one, Frenzy 40K. Appreciate that. I like Waddle if Tyreek plays. He had 19 against him last time. I'm not. It's a couple things here. Like, Waddle has had some spike games, and that was one of them, right? It just hasn't been good in general. And Tua has not played well against the Jets, and you just wonder if this isn't a run funnel defense because they're lousier at stopping the run than they are at stopping the pass, which they're very good at. And so like I'll say this: a point of agreement, Brian, is this offense is way better if Tyreek Hill plays. All phases, all aspects, all components. Odell Beckham is having his best season. This is true. Beckham is back. I agree. And more than Beckham is back, the deep pass is coming together. So we've seen a bit of a process with this Ravens, an evolution, and it should have been expected, right? We have a new offensive coordinator coming, Todd Monken. They wanted to change the way they approach the offense. They wanted to rely more on the pass. It took them a little time to get it happening. It is happening. The deep ball is the thing for this team now, and this matchup is super primed for it. So I'm stoked, and I agree with you. Beckham is back. He's relevant. I have one spot on my bench: Ty Chandler, D Foreman, or handcuff McCaffrey, Mitchell or Mason. Mitchell's been beat up. So, if Mitchell's there, it's Mitchell. If Mitchell is not there, it's Mason. This week, Mitchell is not there. So if this is a 1 week thing and you can move around, Jesse, it would be Mason this week. But I mean, are you making an in-game change, or is this a longer term play? Then I think there's a little uncertainty there. I'd probably rather have a guy who might be a starter every week in Deontay Foreman at this point. I mean, I'd love to have McCaffrey's handcuffed. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know who it's going to be. I know who they want it to be. I don't know who it's going to be. They want it to be Mitchell. And Ty Chandler, I don't know how long of an injury issue this is going to be for Madison. If I thought it was going to be more than 1 week, I just don't know that it's going to be more than 1 week. It would be Ty Chandler. So Foreman is the guy that seems to have a job right now. And I'm going to just acknowledge here and now, Foreman seems to have secured the lead role. We saw last week it was heavy Foreman. Week before it was heavy Roschon Johnson, right? But Khalil Herbert seems to have fallen by the wayside. If that totally changed this week, if those things reverse this week, would I be shocked? No, I'd be a little surprised though. It seems like Deontay Foreman has established himself a little bit. Hey, Nicholas Hartley. Hi, how are you? Damn glad to see you. Mark Jazinski. I did it wrong that time, didn't I? Jazinski. What a jerk I am. That was horrible. Sorry, Mark. No offense, man. I like to try to pronounce names because it's helpful to me, when you're doing it in the moment. So I'd like to do a better job of it every time. Humble apologies. Javonte, Najee, Flowers, Gabe, or Dubs need 2 in a PPR. I want to get Flowers in there really bad. I'm playing Javonte over Najee just because Javonte is at least getting the bulk of the workload. I don't love the matchup, but I don't want to overplay it either, right? It has an impact. I think he's down to the lower end of our running back twos on the rankings. I think the matchup is why the volume's been fantastic. Najee, it's an okay matchup. I think this, as we're sitting here now, and we all know exactly what that means because it's, the game is going to play out and things are going to happen. I like Warren slightly better than I like Najee in this backfield. I like them both kind of equally the same, but I have Javonte ranked ahead of both of them. And I want to play Zay Flowers just because I want a piece of this passing attack against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense that is injury ravaged and not playing well. And I could better, let me see if I can give this to you. There's some numbers because I think it's good. I think it would be good to share. I think I have time to do it. I don't want to belabor the case, but let me bring them up here for you people. That wasn't how I wanted to do it. This is how I wanted to do that. You've got to be smarter than the computer, people. I'm not always, but occasionally I have moments of clarity where I beat the computer at its own damn game. All right, so Jacksonville, without half their starting secondary, they were without Tyson Campbell. They're without safety Andrew Cisco. It'll be the 6th game Campbell misses because of injury. Cisco missed 1 game earlier. Monteric Brown will make a 6th start in place of Campbell. Andrew Wingard will likely start in Cisco's place. Bigger picture. The Jaguars secondary has been the 3rd most generous all year to fantasy quarterback production. So Lamar Jackson looks like he's in a good spot. In addition, the Jaguars have been very generous to the wide receivers. I think they've allowed, and to the tight ends. To the tight ends, there have been top 8 in yards and touchdowns, allowed the tight ends since week 10, and similar numbers to let's see, the numbers are 2nd most yards, 4th most touchdowns to receivers since week 10. Those were the numbers I wanted. I hope it was the juice was worth the squeeze there, as the kids like to say. So there you have it. I mean, that's why I want to play Flowers. All right. All right, I'm gonna have to race a little bit. We got about 10 minutes left. I want to get through all your questions. Here we go. Need 3.5 point PPR. Ford, Hubbard, Cooper, Laporta, McKinnon. Thank you for helping everyone out. Thank you for coming and listening to me help people out. And so not a lot of explanation on these. I'm going to play Laporta, hoping for a big rebound game. It's a good matchup. Going to play Cooper for the volume. I'm probably going to play Hubbard. I'm not against Ford, and maybe I should play Ford over Cooper. I'm not playing Laporta. CH and McKinnon are out for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and rank them Laporta, because I'm locked in, Hubbard, Cooper, Ford for me. And I'm a little hunchy on Cooper. Ford's probably the better play. Don't listen to me in my Cooper hunch. Play Ford and Hubbard. Damn it. If you're asking questions, I need to sit one from Chuba and Ty Chandler, half-point PPR. Thanks in advance. I'm probably going to sit Chandler in this one. But I don't know that there's a wrong answer here for you, to be honest with you. Hubbard. Yeah, it's like these are both. I'm ranked within 4 of each other, so I like Hubbard slightly better. Wouldn't blame you for playing either one. Daggum machines, son of a biscuit. Eric, for the Falcons rookie. I don't think Clay who you got here, but between Etienne and Pollard and non PPR, who got me here more? Pollard's got the hotter hand. I play Pollard in this one. In a non PPR, it's probably still Pollard. Hi, Steve. Hello. Do I start Rice in PPR, pivot to Noah Brown, Pickens, or Javonte? I would not outsmart myself. Javonte is a low floor play. I assume Devontae Smith is a must start. He is. Again, Javonte has a tough matchup, but it's not like impenetrable. I probably have him still close to just inside my top 20. So I'm probably playing him over these other options. Thank you above the ring. Appreciate your presence. All right, Wilson or Browning? It's Wilson for me. Easy. And again, Browning is fine. He's been fantastic. It's a tough defensive matchup. Brian Flores has this blitz game on point. And so can Browning handle it? I think he can. But Wilson has the Denver defense or the Detroit defense, and I like the matchup. I like his recent rushing, and I like the fact that Cortland Sutton can't do anything but catch touchdowns. Baltimore or Indy Team D, I'm playing Baltimore in this one. Hey, Matthew Whitfield. Merry Christmas to you. Any change you're thinking of Goff or Browning? I still am playing Goff and hoping home Goff shows up. But, I mean, you could make an argument for Browning. They're both outside my top 12. I think Goff is about 14 and Browning is 17. Also, Kenneth Walker or Trey McBride is a flex play. Might play Kenneth Walker either way. Trey McBride is a tough matchup for him, and I really love him among tight ends still because of the volume he's getting. Kenneth Walker probably the smarter play on that choice. All right, Mark Jerzinski. Ha! Tennessee D is also available. I can't remember what the question above was. I'm sorry. When you do this to me, I can't scroll back up. So I wouldn't play them over Kansas City. They're a good defense, and it's a good quarterback situation, but I can't remember what the question was. No time for Christmas shopping this weekend. Too much football. When is this Christmas you speak of? Chan tomorrow if he plays limited, or Ty Chandler today. I'm going to go ahead and play Ty Chandler today. Although I do like the Keaton Mitchell pivot. But I don't know if I want to play Chan that bad. But I'd be fine Keaton Mitchell if you needed to. So if that's the direction you want to take, Keaton Mitchell is up over half the snaps now. I mean, I think he's become a real thing, and the big playability is real. I might be too enamored of it, but I think he's a viable fallback. But I think Chandler's rock solid, right? So there's your options right there. Chan, I'm worried about. Russell Wilson, Browning, or Geno Smith. Like them kind of in that order until we get clarity on Geno Smith. And if I want to play Geno Smith and he's listed as questionable, I want to make sure I have Drew Lock on my roster. I'm playing Baltimore's defense. Tony Graupensberger, by golly. Stafford, Browning, or Love. Playing Stafford and Love. Easy. You'd like the matchups for both of them. Expecting a rebound for Love. Not against Browning. Just again, I've laid it out over and over the concerns I have about the blitzing. Stroud's not going to play, but if he does, I would probably play Howell anyway. Right? So watch your favorite coverage site, but you're going to probably find out that he's not playing. And just, Howell has all the volume. I don't know why so there you go. It sounds like you'd like to play Stroud. So if he's active, by all means. After another great season, it sucks not having Keenan Allen. It does suck. In a non-PPR, starting Pittman, Ayuk, and Metcalf. Considering injuries, I'm benching DJ Moore and Nico Collins. Well, I'm fine starting the 3 you're starting if that's the case. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think Nico Collins is going to play. I do think DJ Moore is going to play, and I do think the matchup is not as tough as it normally is because they've got like a semi-depleted secondary. But there you have that. All right, KJ Frederick. Better full PPR running back 2-star, Chuba or Ty Chandler based on matchup. Like, I do think Chandler has a great matchup. Chandler has a great matchup. I do have Chuba slightly ahead, right? Like, but it's close enough. If you have a thing for Ty Chandler, go ahead and play him. I think it's, what did I say, 26 and 28. Is Michael Thomas worth holding on to in my IR slot? Yeah, so I don't know. Was it that great? I mean, I guess you have to assess what's available and who you're, activating him over and what you have to let go. I mean, he'll be a part of this passing attack. He's eligible to return next week. That opens the 21-day window. So, I mean, that's the concern. Is he going to come back in time to help us out for fantasy? I don't know that for sure. Likely or Goddard? I'm playing Likely this week. I like Goddard. He's fine. Wally says hi, Mr. Scampers. 37 people hang out with Bob with only 7 likes. I agree with that, rookie. Where are all the likes or dislikes? You could dislike me. I'm not that likable. I am Bob Harris. FootballDiehards.com is the website. At FootballDiehard on the X machine and the Instagrams and wherever else you find things. And on the radio, it's the Football Diehards radio program on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Monday, Thursday, Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturdays, 9. Sundays, 11 a.m. The pregame show at Jeff Mann's. Look at that. That's like called promotion. Need 2, 4, Javonte Williams, Keaton Mitchell. Oh! So I would play Ford and Williams if I'm playing it safe. If I want to like take a little bit of a chance on playing Ford and Keaton Mitchell, if I want to swing for the fence a little bit. There's something to be said for an angry Sam Bradford. Maybe if Sam Bradford was angrier, it would have been a better Sam Bradford. Getting ready for the Bengals and the Vikings here moments away. We'll try to get through the rest of these questions and send you on your merry way. Need a flex, Cooper, Ford, or OBJ. Tony C, OBJ seems like a huge home run swing for me. If I needed that, if I needed a high floor, it'd be Ford. I like Cooper too, and I'm trying not to go overboard on that. Please save me with this one, says Victor Garcia. I don't know if I can save anybody. I'm overthinking Deontay or Michael Wilson. You're overthinking. Right. He's beat up. So, right. And that is true. It was with Dobbs and Hollywood banged up. Hollywood is still banged up. Kyler Murray's back as quarterback. Like Michael Wilson also coming off injury. Seems like he'll play. I think you're overthinking it, though. I think I'm going to go Deontay. Mitch Trubisky seems to see him better in the red zone than he does George Pickens as well. Hello, Melissa. How are you? Good to see you. Appreciate you coming. Hi, Brian Powell. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Walker or Chandler? Chandler feels like a safer play this week, Matthew. I mean, Walker still has that rushing upside, but just given the matchups, I do. The split with Charbonnet being the issue. Desperation flags for Will Thompson. Shakir or Chris Rodriguez? I'm probably going Shakir, although Ron Rivera has said Chris Rodriguez will have a role, right? Will get more touches. Define more. He hasn't had very many. I mean, if you got a hunch, I'm not against it because I don't know that Khalil Shakir's a locked-in play, just like a piece of an explosive offense. The Commanders, not that much. That's horrible. All right, please rank the following wide receivers, said Will C. Jay Reed, Cooper, and OBJ. I might have them in that order. I do have them in that order. I have them in exactly that order. And I like all 3 of them. But that's the order I have them. You're welcome for that. All right, Steve. Is Gabe Davis football and Kyle Schwarber? I don't know. That's baseball talk. I have no idea. I only know one baseball player. His name is Shohei Ohtani, and he's fantastic. I think he's a baseball player. I'm guessing. Am I right? Warren or Spears and flex question. Deontay, Elijah Moore, Kincaid. We probably play Kincaid there. Deontay, it's between Deontay and Kincaid. I play Warren over Spears. Tyler Sperry? That is a vicious question. Because I think it's fair to say Metcalf was pretty good with Drew Lock, right? So I don't know that the quarterback is the issue. I love the matchup. I might play Metcalf in this one. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect. By the way, the algorithm at footballdiehards.com likes them equally. 10 and 11 is where they're ranked. So if you have a hunch on that one, play your hunch. I'm playing Minshew over Mullins in this one. Just don't know what to expect from Mullins. Uh, Running out of time, so we'll get I'll get to these last ones, and we'll get out of here and watch some football. Garrett Wilson or Zach Moss. I'm playing Zach Moss there. I would start. I think Ty Chandler has a more certain workload than Deontay Foreman. I think Deontay Foreman's the lead guy, but there's two other guys. There's only one other guy for Chandler. His name's Kene Nangwu, and I don't think he's going to play much. Justin Jefferson or Mixon. Worried to avoid JJ's QB. If you're worried, Mixon is the good play. Hello, Michael Gooch. Titans defense versus Texans or Vikings defense. I'd probably play the Titans in that case. Start two, Chandler, Warren, Gibson, Jones. Probably the first two on that one. And I'm not sure which Jones we're talking about. Is it Aaron? I don't know that I trust Aaron. I'm playing Chandler and Warren right now. JJ or DK, just went through that one in a PPR. I think they're both reasonable expectations. We have them ranked 10 and 11. Do you have a hunch about DK, given that super matchup in the news today that Darius Slay is not playing, as well, further diminishing that already generous Eagles secondary? Get after yourself. All right, let's go Bengals. Let's go Bob Harris. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Is Chris Olave out, Andrea? We do not know yet. He is a game time decision. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Scampers, while he says goodbye. Should I risk playing on Olave since he doesn't know, or if he will play? I play Sutton. You already got enough risk in your lineup. All right, everybody, Bob Harris. It's been a pleasure having you all here. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you coming. Appreciate everyone coming every week. I'll be back Wednesday for an On the Hot Seat. Catch me tonight on the SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio program, Football Diehards, with my co-host Mike Dempsey. We'll have Marcus Grant from NFL Network and NFL.com. We'll have Dave Kluge from Football Guys, and we'll have Jamie Calandro from this very website, Football Diehards, talking DFS tonight, 8:30 p.m. Jamie and Eric on the DFS lineup show. They'll run you through the entire Sunday slate. I'm sorry. I'm confused. I'm going fast because it's game time. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Really appreciate you. This is a very, very good time for me every week. I really enjoy the interactions and a chance to kind of think through my thoughts as well, right? Helps me coalesce my thoughts as I sit here and race through all the news. All right, good luck, everybody. Let's go out and dominate. It's Week 15 playoff time. There is no losing. So I wish you all great victories.